Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft podcast episode. I know I always have a great time doing these, and I'm so grateful to my listeners. Thank you all for spending your life minutes in this way to, hopefully pick up some things about becoming the boss of your brain and learning to live your very best life. And so that's what I'm about: living your highest vibe self and helping people to do that. I'll tell you, I just added, I think I said this on the last episode, I just added a title on LinkedIn, and it's so fun because I had like the regular kind of dull ones, like, professor, professional speaker. Everybody's got that. Not everybody's got that, but a lot super mainstream, right? And then I said, you know what? I'm feeling I'm feeling that my new identifier is a catalyst for happiness. Isn't that great? I just love it. And so today, what Giovanni's right here with me. What he and I want to talk about today is write it down. And we talk about gratitude as being the key to happiness, and it absolutely is. It is the master key to happiness. Kind of like when you see the people in the grocery store that have like that whole circle thing loaded with 4,000 keys. There's usually the highest person up usually has one key that opens everything. That's what gratitude is. Gratitude is that skeleton key that it can just open everything. And it really is the truth because when we practice it, whatever we practice, we inevitably get better at. So what I want to talk about today is a gratitude journal. And I want to do a special shout out to a friend, Jim. My friend Jimmy, because he's a recent gratitude journal doer. He's just kind of grabbing onto that right by the tail and running with it. And so I want to, wish him well on this journey because telling you, it is a life changer. It's such a life changer. And I also want to, there's a quote out there by Melanie Beatty. I mean, it's super common, but for those of you who are maybe, kind of starting out with the whole gratitude thing, there's lots of good ones out there, but she quite honestly has one of the best. So here it goes. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Well, how do you like that? That kind of wraps it right up. Gratitude just it changes. The thing is, gratitude changes our filter system. So when people make jokes or say things about rosy glasses, think of those that little that toy when we were kids, like a kaleidoscope. You can look around at your child world and reality, and then take a peek through the kaleidoscope with all the beautiful colors and all the beautiful shit. It's similar to that, only we're high on life, not on any kind of substance. Because gratitude actually, and people don't get this, right? My degree is in cognitive psychology, and as you know, I could talk about neurons all day long and not have one bored second. Gratitude actually creates new neural pathways, new positive neural pathways, and simultaneously, while that's happening, the negative Nelly pathways begin to diminish because if you don't use it, you lose it. That's how it goes. Not good when it's high school Spanish or learning the piano when you're 5 or something, and then trying to do it again when you're 30. But it is good when you are trying to make strides towards a more positive view on life and, increasing your happiness levels and your fulfillment and your life satisfaction. Because when you're full of all that good stuff, then there's just no room for negativity. That's the fact, Jack. Okay, so the thing with write it down, my good friend Oprah says this frequently. She's not aware we're besties, but hopefully someday she will because I just really, really want to meet her. I want to put that out to the universe because I definitely believe in the law of attraction. Someday I really hope to meet her. She has just done so much for the world. And anyway, so she says that a lot about gratitude. The thing is that to write it down. So I practice gratitude all day long. Whenever the tiniest little breadcrumb goes well for me in my head, I say, "Oh my God, thank you for that." Not but, and in addition, though, it's very, very important. Personally, I think it's best in the morning. If you're more of a night person, It's all good. If you're writing down your grateful thoughts. It's doesn't matter when. You could be sitting on the potty and you're writing down grateful thoughts. It's totally all good. Here's the thing with the morning, and I guess granted I am a very much so a morning person. I think it's the best time of the day. I also love the hue in the winter though, around 4:30 with the oranges and pinks. That's also good. But I like to get the jump on the day myself. So here's the thing, even without the bias of being a morning person, the thing with the morning is you're also priming your day. That's just a fact. So if you already can do it in the morning and night, the thing is, here's a couple kind of suggestions. You want to make it brain wise. The brain is lazy. Whether you're the have the most tenacious work ethic in the entire world, we are wired for the brain's wired to take the path of least resistance. So if you want to keep up with it, you want to make it doable, which is why for my Minecrafters, they have a journal that they keep every single day, not just class days, but 7 days a week. And it's I am grateful for, and then three things. And the gratitude journal idea is borrowed from Marty Seligman. He started that. I'm sure some other people probably did too, but he's the most known for as a father of positive psychology. But his kind of his drill involves a little bit more with how you felt, and then that's all good, and also more gratitudes. But really, for my college students, I want them to keep it up, kind of like when you exercise. And January is a great time to talk about this because so many people make New Year's resolutions that involve exercise, and 3 weeks later, the ellipticals and the treadmills are all on, Craigslist. And that's because that willpower isn't that strong. It doesn't last very long. So just like with exercise, it's important if you're going to stick with the gratitude journal. And I have for years. So is Oprah. And when they're done, I kind of stuff them underneath my dresser. So there's a whole bunch of them down there. And if you want to keep it simple, if you want to be successful with it. So 3 things I am grateful for, I am grateful for, I am grateful for. Remembering that the words I am grateful for are extremely important. We can't just write my family, my golden retriever, my hot tea. We have to write I am grateful for, because this is how the neurons actually get reprogrammed to take your new path of least resistance. And it's going to get harder before it gets easier because that's how it goes. We talked about that with the guitar thing. Calluses, let's just pretend like they're mental calluses, and then they go away and you're playing Margaritaville. Well, it's the same thing with gratitude. So I am grateful for, I am grateful for, I am grateful for. Then, after approximately 21 days, you will begin to notice differences. You'll notice that you're starting to seek out what's going well in your day, what's actually the positives, what's working for you, what's smooth, that sort of thing. And because habits they're not made or broken, they shift, right? And Charles Duhigg, I think that the Power of Habit book, that's where that comes from. 21 days. Now, obviously, there's a range there because starting a gratitude journal and quitting smoking are not the same thing. But basically, that's hence average, right? So my students will tell me, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." There's usually a handful that raise their hands very quickly when I ask about 3 weeks into Minecraft, and they go, and it's just so super important because it's a life changer. It really is. And the longer you do it, the better it gets. So there's that. Realizing that it's a cognitive, neuropsychological thing that's happening with rewiring the brain. And also just like playing soccer or learning how to cook or learning whatever, the guitar, whatever. It also, the maintenance of it gets easier. It just gets easier. So there's, in other words, it's not like, oh my God, I write my journal. And then you start to change your words. Like I'm excited to write my journal. You also want to make it super easy simple in the fact that I'm grateful for only 3 times, easy. And you want to have it with a pen stuffed in there. I have mine on my windowsill, or if you have a nightstand next to your bed. We don't, so that's why it's on my windowsill. If there's like a little coffee table that you sit next to every single day when you get up and have your coffee, and you sit in the exact same spot, leave it there with a pen in it, because you want it close proximity, because the 20-second rule is a research-based phenomenon that if something's within 20 seconds, we're much more apt as human beings to either do it or not do it, depending on what you're aiming for. So the gratitude journal, you want it to be easy. Within 20 seconds, you can find it. You don't have to go looking for a pen, because theoretically, according to that theory, if you can't find a pen, it goes way past 20 seconds into like a minute or two. You're like, mañana, what's one day? I can miss it. We start to rationalize that. So we want to make sure it's within the 20 seconds. and that you're willing, that you're ready, and able to do it. Couple other things I want to add is sometimes certain days, obviously, life throws us curveballs. Sometimes they're big curveballs, like a death in the family, and even more so, an unexpected death in the family. Not that there's ever a good time for loss, but certainly, losing a great grandmother who's 98 and had a full life, even though it's sad, is not the same as obviously getting a phone call where somebody was, hit by a car or something like that. So there are days and when, or you get a pink slip for a job or whatever like that, and it might seem tougher to be grateful. Or maybe it's the next day after all this, right? If you're doing it in the morning. So it's important for me, and I tell my Minecrafters to have a default gratitude. It's really, really important. And typically, I will use this as a teaching moment when one of them, I can tell by their face when we go around in a circle that they're kind of struggling to grab something, and without putting them on the spot, I just kind of say that some days it may seem that it's difficult to find, to search for something that we're grateful for. So it's important to have the default. So personally, mine is eyesight. Mine is eyesight because my youngest brother-in-law Brendan is blind. I mean, anybody who's blind, obviously. I'm just thinking of him because he's in my family. Just I can't even imagine life like that. You can't drive. You don't have the independence. I remember when, because I've been around this, my husband's family is forever. I remember when, because he's the youngest one. I remember when he got his license, and that's a huge rite of passage. And all his friends are getting his license, and then and then he couldn't drive, and he went through something a little bit because that's awful. It's hard. Never mind being a full grown adult. And honestly, he's currently like about 52, I think, because I'm 59, maybe 52, 53, something like that. He is in a good mood the high majority of the time. I rarely see him without a smile on. So he's amazing. But the point is, that's my gratitude because sunsets and all the ability, he's very athletic, but he's limited that way, right? To just go out for a run, to ski, like it's all limited now. Having a job you can just drive to, or you're pissed and you just want to get in the car and get away from things and drive. He can't do any of that. So my default gratitude is eyesight. And certainly, breathing is a huge score. Right? It can be just pick anything that your legs work, your arms work, something. But so that's mine. So it's very important to have a default gratitude that you don't have to think about and search for. If you're having one of those days, you just say, okay, and you don't have to scream it from a mountaintop. I'm grateful for my eyesight. You just, you know what? All this shit happened. I lost this, maybe the job or a person or whatever. Today I'm grateful for my eyesight, and just keep rolling. Write it down and keep moving. If you can't come up with 3, that's the best you did that day, and that's it. Another thing I do, which is called I do gratitude walks. I'm actually about to go for another one because G and I had a short one this morning because it was too cold for his paws. I mean, he had a great time, but I had to be conscious as the grown up involved that it was 3 degrees, so we just did a tiny little itty bitty jaunt just to get the idea because that's our routine. Because when it's that cold, the snow kind of gets in his paws, and we don't want that. But now the sun's warmed it up a little bit. It's up to about, I don't know, 13 maybe, but it's 16, I think. So it's a little bit better. So we're going to go out and do a mindful walk, a gratitude walk. And here's the big one. Here's something I do, and this goes with a different theory, which is the theory of 17 seconds. I cannot give credit to anyone because I don't know who came up with it. I do know that Abraham Hicks talks about it a lot, so you can look her up and see who came up with it because I'm not sure. It does make a whole lot of sense, though, because every single thought we have expands. Everyone, positive, negative, or somewhere in between. And we don't really have neutral thoughts very easily because think about it, there's like a slim margin there. It usually lands, usually lands on one side or the other. So it's true for both. So whatever thought we're entertaining and allowing to zip through our minds and circle around like a hamster in a wheel, you want to cherry pick those and make sure they're good ones because after 17 seconds they get harder to get rid of. And again, that's not good if it's some self-deprecating thought, some what-if thought, some catastrophizing thought, some overthinking thought. However, fancy word for but, right? If it's a grateful thought, we want that to go longer than 17 seconds. Some beautiful positive visualization, affirmation. I'm grateful for my eyesight. I'm grateful that my legs work. I'm grateful that my arms work. I'm grateful it's super sparkly today. I'm grateful for the snow. I'm grateful that the sun warmed it up a bit for another walk. So when I do a gratitude rampage, I literally throw up gratitude statements and I make sure I go past 17 seconds. I'm not watching a clock. You can just kind of get the feel, right? And if you can make it, I think Abraham Hicks says, if you can really push it to like 68 seconds, then you're golden. But let's just take, baby steps here. 17 seconds, and just just look at what you can just throw up what you're looking at. Blue sky, the blueberry muffin you had for breakfast, the hot coffee, and it wasn't cold coffee, or it was hot coffee. Health and happiness and partner and house or apartment or new job or the smallest of stuff. I didn't have any issues today. I popped my tire, still made it to work. Whatever, just throw it up. Throw it up for the beautiful trees, the beautiful Central Park. And after you do that for 17 seconds, I usually go a few seconds more just to make sure I crossed over that. You will see an immediate, you will notice an immediate difference in your mood. I promise you that. And my kids would know if they were in this, sort of virtual living room with us, they would tell you that. I didn't use the P word, which is promise, unless I could deliver. Now you might already be happy, you'll be happier. You might be really in a dark place and still be kind of in a dark place, but it'll be less dark than before you did the gratitude rampage. So no matter where you are along that spectrum, there will be at least a slight bit of positive change. And the more receptive you are to it, it'll be even more so, because this is a neurological thing, and we are feeding and guiding positivity to create the new neural network. So if you want to really boost your mood more frequently, you do that once a day, 17 seconds. Think about that. You can sit that long, probably do sit at least that long on the toilet. Think about it. In fact, you could use that time wisely in the bathroom privately. Nobody will ever know. And then you kind of feed two birds with one hand, as they say, because you'll have done your gratitude rampage. You'll come out of the bathroom with a huge smile on, and people are going to wonder, So, to start out your new year, I would say this is the best thing you can do, honestly, for yourself, because people often say we are what we eat, and all of it's important. Nutrition is, to have a holistic well-being, nutrition's important. The movement is definitely important. That said, we are what we think. So truthfully, even I'm a big exercise, I'm a big movement person, and I'm out moving every day. And I eat pretty well. I'll admit I like the occasional burger. It's true, but I do eat pretty well. Even though I'm all about both of those things, the number one is we are what we think. Think about it. If there's no brain, the apple isn't that important, right? So there is nothing more important we can do for ourselves than nurture the mind. And the best way to nurture the mind is to calm it down and be grateful. Calm it down and be grateful. In fact, if anyone's listening who has an issue, you're struggling with anxiety or depression, here's the fact, Jack. If you are in the moment and really, truly in the moment, thinking something wonderfully grateful, that you're grateful for something and you're in the moment with that thought, it is neurologically impossible for you to be anxious or depressed in that exact minute. Because the thought isn't there. Thoughts come first and feelings come second. So it literally is impossible to feel anxious unless you allow yourself to feel anxious thoughts first. So if you're thinking grateful thoughts, that's what you're going to be, grateful. Even if it's a matter of seconds, you get a little bit of a break from anxiety or depression. All right, this seems like a great place to wind it up. Again, I'm grateful for all of you listening to the Minecraft podcast. And I'll tell you, I've got a bunch. I just haven't edited. I can't say that today very well. I have 4 podcasts that will be ready to go soon, of some really interesting people, some really uplifting people. And I'm going to get to that shortly and then release them 1, 2, 3, 4 right in a row. Okay, so thank you for listening and have a mindful day. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful, chilly, and sparkly Northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.